1.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I'm Belis Quetta, and thanks for joining us today. Now, the news making the headlines: we will welcome Jonathan if he defects, says the APC. DR Congo's opposition protests electoral reforms. Bitcoin protesters in El Salvador against cryptocurrency as legal tender. NIMASA seeks FDFA partnership to combat illegal fishing. And on sports, you can't break my unbeaten record, Tyson Fury tells Anthony Joshua. Stay with us as the details of the news come after this short break. Welcome back. Now the news in full. We will welcome Jonathan if he defects, says the APC. The All Progressive Congress yesterday said it will welcome former President Goodluck Jonathan should he decide to join the party. And he also said he, like every other new entrant, will enjoy the rights and privilege extended to all members of the party irrespective of the date of joining. National Secretary of the party, Senator John Akpanudo Dehe, said this while answering questions on a political program, and in response to a question whether there was any truth in speculations that the party was wooing Jonathan to join and become its presidential standard bearer for 2023. He said he didn't want to speculate. Senator John also said the party was expecting more governors from the opposition People's Democratic Party to join the APC before December. And moving forward to another news, pay debts, benefits, salary arrears, NAT tells the federal government. Striking members of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors have said that they may shift grounds on their ongoing strike that started on August 2nd if they see signs that the federal government will honor agreements and clear some outstanding payments. And outstanding payments, the association is expecting the government to settle before they can consider ending the strike include the death benefits of members who died during COVID-19 pandemic and salary arrears, amongst others. It was further learned that the leadership of the NARD and that of the Nigerian Medical Association would be meeting the Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, on Friday in continuation of efforts to end the strike. An early meeting of the NAD and NMA had with the minister on Tuesday was also said that it has been postponed due to the failure of both parties to agree. And however, the federal government and NAD on Wednesday told the National Industrial Court in Abuja that they were open to negotiations in order to end the ongoing strike action. And consequently, the court fixed its ruling on the ongoing dispute between the federal government and the resident doctors for September 17. And now, coming forward from around Africa, panel recommends 189 million naira for victims of extrajudicial killings in Ebonyi. And the judicial panel of inquiry set up by the Ebonyi state government to look into the complaints of extrajudicial killings and human rights violations in the state yesterday recommended that the sum of 189 million naira should be paid to victims. And the panel also recommended sanctions and other forms of punishment for security agencies involved in extrajudiciary killings, brutality, and other forms of human rights violation. And the chairman of the panel, Justice Aloy Nwankwo, stated this while submitting the report of the panel to the Ebonyi State Governor, David Umahi, and on the same day. And 71 petitions were received by the panel, while 51 were determined. 20 of the petitions were earlier struck out, abandoned, and withdrawn by the petitioners for want of diligent prosecution. And petitions that were found to be pending in court were also struck out, as the panel does not have the power to go into such matters. And also petitions that were found to be meritorious and viewed as gold digging were dismissed, and while recommendations were made in deserving cases to serve as a deterrent to others. And now moving on to news from around Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo's opposition protests electoral reforms. Police in the Democratic Republic of Congo yesterday thwarted a demonstration organized by the opposition parties in Kinshasa. And the protest, which was organized by the Lamuka opposition party, were calling for fairness and equal representation in the National Electoral Commission. And the opposition accused the National Police of brutality repression towards a peaceful protest after 8 people were arrested. And the reform of the Electoral Commission was voted on by the National Assembly in June by the opposition in seeking a fair representation in the structure of the Electoral Commission. And the opposition leader, Martin Fayulu, recently denounced the recent move by the parliament led by Tshisekedi's party to initiate a new electoral system, further warned that this will lead to a fraud into the 2023 elections. And the United Nations representatives in the country, Bintou Keita, on the other hand, hoped that the law will strengthen the Commission's depopularization, independence, and transparency of the electoral process. And moving forward, still from around Africa, ECOWAS to meet again over Guinea as junta holds more transition talks. West African bloc ECOWAS said it will meet today to discuss possible steps after Guinea's president was ousted in coup earlier this month. And Ghana's foreign minister said yesterday the army ruler held talks with the country's civil society a day after meeting with politicians and leaders of political parties. And ECOWAS already suspended Guinea last week after a special forces commander toppled 83-year-old President Alpha Condé, calling his ouster a clear violation of the group's regional charter. A delegation from the 15-member ECOWAS group was sent to Conakry to meet with the coup leader, Lieutenant Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, and he visited Condé on the demand of civilian-led transition. And Ghana Foreign Minister Shirley Ayokor Bochu, who led the mission, said today's extraordinary summit will review the delegation's findings and decide next steps for Guinea's return to constitutional rule. And Bochu said Guinea's coup leader were likely still not in a position to give the timetable for a return of democratic rule. And Condé came under increasing pressure for what critics say was a slide into authoritarianism, with dozens of opposition activists arrested after a disputed election last year. And the coup in Guinea has sparked fears of democratic backsliding across West Africa and drowned parallel with Mali, which suffered 2 army uprisings since August last year. We're going to short break right now. When we come back, we get you more updates from the foreign scene. Don't go anywhere.
What business are you planning to showcase to the world? That which will satisfy the need of humanity? Of course, with Celebration TV, it will get the desired reciprocation you long for. We are committed to giving your business and services that quality touch of class, and you will be happy you made the right choice by placing that investment of yours on the right platform. Without delay, you can call on this number for your advert placement, partnership, or sponsorship of our programs. Celebration Television, your best bet.
Welcome back, and now coming from the foreign scene, Bitcoin protest in El Salvador against cryptocurrency as legal tender. And thousands of protesters have taken to the streets in El Salvador, angry at the introduction of Bitcoin as its legal tender. And President Nayib Bukele says the cryptocurrency will help Salvadorians working abroad to send money back home. But demonstrators fear it will bring instability and inflation to the impoverished Latin American country. And some protesters set fire to a brand new Bitcoin machine, while others held signs reading "Bukele Dictator." And last week, El Salvador became the first country to use the virtual currency as a legal tender alongside the US dollar. The demonstrators gathered in the capital, San Salvador, on the 200th anniversary of the country's independence, brandishing placards reading "No to Bitcoin" and "Respect the Constitution." And they accused the president of using authoritarian means to tighten his grip on power. Mr. Bukele has moved to cement control over the judiciary, which recently cleared him to run for the office for a second successful term, despite constitutional limits. But Mr. Bukele still enjoys strong support in El Salvador, with a recent newspaper poll showing 85.7% of people approved of the president. And more news unfolding. UK, US, and Australia launch pacts to counter China. The UK, United States, and Australia have announced a historic security pact in the Indo-Pacific in what seems as an effort to counter China. It will let Australia build nuclear-powered submarines for the first time using technology provided by the US. And the pact, to be known as AUKUS, will also cover artificial intelligence, cyber, and quantum technologies. It is the biggest defense partnership amongst the countries in decades, analysts say. And in recent years, the Western democracies have all expressed concerns about China's growing military assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific. And a new partnership aimed to promote security and prosperity in the region, said a joint statement by the US President Joe Biden, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and the Australian counterpart Scott Morrison. And China's embassy in Washington reacted by accusing the countries of a Cold War mentality and ideological prejudice. And the pact means Australia has torn up a sum of 50 billion Australian dollar deal to be signed with France in 2016 to build 12 submarines. And on business news right now, NIMASA seeks FDFA partnership to combat illegal fishing. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Bashir Jamo, has called for greater synergy between the agency of the Federal Department of Fisheries and Aquaculture to ensure safety in fishing vessels and their operators in Nigeria. And this was disclosed in a statement following a strategic meeting with officials from the agency and the FDFA to discuss issues relating to safety of fishing vessels and illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and border crimes that take place during fishing operations and related matters. And represented by the head of the special duties, Mr. Isechi Osamgbi, the Director General said there should be adequate information shared between the FDFA and NIMASA. And speaking on maritime security, Jamo said with the acquisition and training of operators of the deep blue asset, the days of criminal elements in the Nigerian maritime domain were numbered as the assets have been fully deployed. In his remark, the head of monitoring, control and surveillance at the FDFA Lagos office, Mr. Paul Opwama, thanked NIMASA for hosting the meeting and is saying it's provided a very useful opportunity to not only clear some gray operational areas, but also foster great collaboration in order to improve safety of fishing vessels. And moving forward, still on business news, the federal government to review obsolete financial regulations. And the federal government is set to conduct a comprehensive review of obsolete financial regulations that are operational in the country's public service. And according to a statement from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, the review, which has been approved by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, will bring the financial regulations up to date with current realities and best practices. And sequel to Minister's approval, the AGF Ahmed Idris inaugurated an interministerial committee to review the financial regulations. And speaking at the inauguration, Idris said it became imperative to carry out the review as the current financial regulations, which came into effect in 2009, were no longer relevant and useful in driving the public financial management reforms of the government. And Idris reaffirmed that the review underscored government's efforts at entrenching probity, accountability, and transparency in the management of public financial resources. He also urged the committee to consult widely and come up with financial regulations that will stand the test of time. He advised the committee to ensure that the review captured the public finance management reforms of the federal government and taking it into consideration the various extant circulars. The committee, he said, should be as well consider, review and recommend appropriate thresholds in respect of loss of cash and stores in line with present realities. And he said members of the committee were carefully selected based on their experience and competence, and also expressed optimism that they would add value to the review process. We're going to short break right now. When we come back, we get more news updates from the world of sports.
What business are you planning to showcase to the world? That which will satisfy the need of humanity? Of course, with Celebration TV, it will get the desired reciprocation you long for. We are committed to giving your business and services that quality touch of class, and you will be happy you made the right choice by placing that investment of yours on the right platform. Without delay, you can call on this number for your advert placement, partnership, or sponsorship of our programs. Celebration Television, your best bet.
Welcome back. Now on sports news. You can't break my unbeaten record, Tyson Fury tells Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury believes he would never lose his unbeaten record despite the looming threat of fights against dangerous punchers such as Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. And Fury defends his WBC belt against Wilder on October 9, which could finally set up an undisputed world title showdown against Joshua. And Joshua reached his world titles against Alexander Usyk on the September 25th live on Sky Sports box office. But Fury has appeared to dismiss the threat posed by his heavyweight rivals. And Joshua has reiterated that his desire for a blockbuster battle, but Fury insists his British rival's shock loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. is proof that he should not look too far ahead at future fights. And the two-time world champion also revealed how he battled the depression after fulfilling his long-term ambition of defeating Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. And now lastly on the news desk and second on sports news, Kenya fires coach after World Cup qualifying woe. Jacob Ghost Mulee became the third coach to lose his job during the 2022 World Cup qualifiers in Africa after Kenya fired him late on Wednesday. And the 53-year-old was named coach of the Harambee Stars for the fifth time last October following the surprise sacking of Francis Kimanzi. And under his stewardship, Kenya registered 2 draws against Uganda and Rwanda during the World Cup qualifiers and have little hope of being among the 10 group winners after the 6th and the final round of the mini-league matches in November. And a statement from Kenyan Federation said the organization and Mulee had reached a decision to part ways, but mutual consent effectively immediately. And Mulee's departure follows that of Zimbabwe's coach Zwanko Logariski on Sunday after Hossam El Badri, who was asked as coach of Egypt last week. And that's the size of the news for us today on Celebration Television News Desk. If you're just joining us, here is a recap of the news making the headlines. We will welcome Jonathan if he defects, says the All Progressive Congress. Democratic Republic of Congo's opposition protests electoral reforms. Bitcoin protest in El Salvador against cryptocurrency as legal tender. NIMASA seeks FDFA partnership to combat illegal fishing. And on sports, Tyson Fury tells Anthony Joshua that he cannot beat his unbeaten record. And today on the photo of the day, you see that image on the screen of someone trying to wear another image, and this is just to tell us that the originality of an individual is precious. It can never be duplicated in the exact same manner but by another person. So often we as individuals do not understand the uniqueness which resides within us. We often try to replicate someone else instead of being just ourselves. You can also tell us your thoughts on the photo of the day on our different social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Celebration TV. On Instagram, My Celebration TV. On Twitter, it's at My Celebration TV. And on our YouTube channel, it is Celebration TV. And never you forget that your positive contribution to the society, to the wellness of the society you find yourself in, or the organization you work in, defines your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed, has backed his ways to success. So be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either have a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. So do everything possible to be a part of nation building today. Thanks for watching the news on Celebration Television News Desk. I am Belis Quetta. Have a nice day.
Amounted to 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.